Okay, so Usman is very boxing orientated, so I knew if I punch towards his face, naturally everyone does this to move away from the punch.
Right.
So I went for the same side kick as, okay, so I go punch, as it parries, I go boom,
Wallet.
head kick. I just wrapped around the head.
Well, it's how crazy the sport is. I was talking, it's what makes this sport the greatest sport in the world, you know? That you can sit through 4 rounds and 4 minutes, and that can happen.
During the time of this channel's activity, we have managed to dissect numerous aspects of mixed martial arts, compilations of knockouts, fighter styles, top representatives of their weight class, and many key moments that make up MMA. Today's video will be no exception. After all, our plan is to present the top 10 strikes that the fighting community will never forget. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, like and leave a comment with 4 words. And we're starting. Let's go! Number 10. Israel Adesanya vs Alex Pereira, UFC 287. As an opening selection of battles, the rematch between the last stylebender and the Brazilian poleton fits perfectly. By April 2023, stylebender lost the championship gold for the first time and was determined to seek revenge. Alex Pereira, who debuted a year and a half ago in the strongest league, had already defeated 3 opponents, including Sean Strickland, who is now the undisputed middleweight champion. The possibility of an immediate rematch for Izzy was not even discussed, and soon the main promotion announced the news that 2 kickboxing natives would meet again in the main event of UFC 287.
He said like, oh, I don't think he's gonna want an immediate rematch. I'm like, he doesn't know me.
Yeah.
I'll fight you until I beat you.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. I'll be 60. I'll come to your favela. I'll knock on your door. My walking stick and be like, yo, you and me right now. Like, we need to go. Because that's just me. I don't give a fuck. Even if it's just one, cool. I beat you.
How long?
I could beat him.
That's in the past. This is now. And he knows how dangerous I am. He knows I'm not an easy fight. He's going to have to go through fire. He's going to have to go through fire. I'm going to make him fight for his life in this fight. I know how I can beat this guy. I know every time I fight this guy, I'm dominating him, I'm beating him, and then he has this special ability to recover and put his foot on the gas. So I have to find a way to take him out of the driver's seat, which I will.
It's true. When Adesanya faced Alex in kickboxing, referring to the second fight, he rocked him several times and came close to an early victory. The same thing happened in November 2022 at UFC 281. But this time, something changed. April the 8th, 4 minutes 20 seconds into the second segment. This time, Izzy managed to finish what he started. He not only rocked the Brazilian, but also put in all the necessary effort to secure a victory once and for all. He knocked out poleton decisively and managed to break the curse that had been following him since another discipline.
You only get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. And man, when it was my shot, I landed that, man, and I did it again, boom, and I see him hit the ground. And I thought about George Foreman versus Ali, because Engage, my fightwear brand, just signed with the Ali Foundation, and something in my head prior to this fight was like, if I have that moment, should I hold back like Ali did with George Foreman, the Phantom Punch? But I was like, nah, he wouldn't do the same to me. So I sent that from heaven. I just landed on his head.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Number 9. Conor McGregor vs Jose Aldo, UFC 194. Next up, we greet the battle that took place in December 2015. In those glorious times when the name of the notorious Irishman was whispered with reverence, and a fight with him was considered a festival promising a huge payday. In short and to the point, by that time, Notorious had a record of 19-2 and a 14-win streak, 6 of which were in the UFC. He had already taken the interim lightweight belt and was confidently targeting the champion's head. And that champion was the tough and uncompromising Jose Aldo, who hadn't lost in a decade and was a menace to anyone who crossed his path.
Yeah, I feel within 4 minutes the shots will have landed. It's on him after that. I feel anything after that 4 minute mark of the first round will be a formality. It will be on him where he is mentally, where he is physically, and how much he truly wants this. I see him crumbling towards the end of the first, or not answering the bell for the second, but it will be wrapped up inside one.
Little Brazilian. Ooh, vamos here. What you got to say now, face to face, man to man? What you got to say? You got nothing to say. You've got nothing to say, face to face. Give me that, special in that.
He took this can of Monster Energy from this table and said, "Come and get it." I drill it through his head.
Yeah, what you gonna do? You wanna do something? You wanna do something? You wanna do something? You're a Brazilian. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Psychological pressure and open verbal attacks from the Irishman broke the King of Rio long before the actual fight. Because of this, in the octagon we never saw anything from Aldo except for the fall to the canvas that McGregor had claimed. Conor's famous left hand delivered one of the loudest upsets in the history of combat sports. That's when a new era began, and Notorious's victory became one of the greatest in the history of the strongest league.
Again, nobody can take that left-hand shot, but I tell you, he's powerful and he's fast. But precision beats power, and timing beats speed, and that's what you saw there.
Relaxed, smiling. Oh! It's the new UFC featherweight champion of the world. Oh, unbelievable!
Number 8. Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman, UFC 168. In this section, we will actually tell you about 2 cases of the same strike. If some of you didn't understand what we mean, don't worry, we'll go through it all step by step. In December 2013 at the numbered UFC 168 event, an immediate rematch was organized between the Brazilian Spider and Chris Weidman. As it turned out, it created even more commotion than the incredible upset from the latter during their first encounter. Because initially, Anderson managed to hold his own in the fight almost effortlessly. In the first round, he looked much better than the new champion. However, in the second, this happened.
Launch shots. It was a good shot to the body. Oh, nice. He checked it. No. He hurt himself. He hurt his leg.
Unexpectedly for everyone, Anderson Silva broke his leg after delivering a low kick and catching Chris Weidman's check. It was something so unexpected and gruesome that even the most avid horror fans felt shivers down their spines. And the commentators didn't even know what to say.
Quando eu chutei, ela fez barulho estrondoso, assim, de osso realmente quebrando. E a dor, uma coisa assim absurda.
And the exact same scenario occurred more than 7 years later with the very same Chris Weidman. By April 2021, he was already a veteran and was preparing to step into the cage to face Uriah Hall at UFC 261.
The first thing that popped into my head when I broke my leg, as soon as I hit the ground, as soon as I looked at my leg and I seen it flop around, the first thing that went in my head was, I cannot believe, I thought about you. I thought about it. This is Anderson Silva. My leg looked like Anderson Silva. What the hell? There's no way that's my leg right now. And then it's then all of a sudden the pain's coming in. And I remember when it happened with you, I didn't know your leg broke as soon as it happened. I thought you were just in pain. I circled around and I remember hearing this screaming, like someone was being murdered. And then I came over, and then I seen you holding your leg and I was just, I could not believe it. Yeah, and as time went on, I tried to get in touch with you that week. I felt terrible about it. But as time went on, it was you kind of forget. And I feel terrible now because now I understand the pain that you went through, all the trials and tribulations that you went through. It just makes me empathize with you so much more with those situations. And to be honest, I've never even said this out loud, but it's been on my mind really since it happened. But I want to apologize to you because there's been times, I remember afterwards I felt terrible and everything, but then I Our fights were so crazy.
Number 7. Mirko Cro Cop versus Gabriel Gonzaga, UFC 70. Now with left leg symmetry. By April 2007, Mirko Cro Cop was on a streak of 5 consecutive early victories in the early rounds. His total victim count stood at 22, while his professional losses amounted to 4. He hadn't lost since December 2005. Over the years of his illustrious and eventful career, the former Croatian police officer had visited numerous organizations, showcasing the highest level of skill in each of them. And now it was time to make his debut in the strongest league.
Gabriel Gonzaga versus Mirko Cro Cop is a rematch of a fight that shocked the world.
They put me to lose to him, to make him fight for the title. But I said, I'm not gonna lose this fight.
If you look at Mirko Cro Cop's highlight reel, it is a highlight reel unlike any other highlight reel out there. It's left high kick after left high kick. Spectacular one-kick knockout. He is a real legend of mixed martial arts.
As Joe Rogan reminds us, the encounter between Cro Cop and the Brazilian caused a sensation in mixed martial arts. At the same time, Gabriel Gonzaga was considered a young and promising prospect competing in the UFC since November 2005. He had a modest record of 7 wins and 1 loss, and on paper didn't seem anywhere near as competitive as the experienced and technically skilled veteran. However, what happened in the octagon is still vividly remembered by every self-respecting fan of the sport.
The fact that Gabriel Gonzaga was able to do to him what Cro Cop did to so many others has got to be chewing away at the psyche of a great champion like Mirko Cro Cop.
If you lived in those times and were interested in mixed martial arts, you won't deny that it was a true sensation. As history showed, Gonzaga stopped the veteran fighter who represented devastating high kicks in the sport with this very strike in the first round. The emotions that the viewers experienced in real time are impossible to fully convey. It was a decisive and shocking upset by the Brazilian prospect. Number 6. Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards, UFC 263. Next up, we have a brawl featuring the legendary gangster Nate Diaz. By June 2021, the Stockton native made yet another comeback after to break to test another top contender in the welterweight division. To kick off the summer season, the veteran had the British Rocky as his opponent, who would soon pull off an upset, but we'll talk about that later, and who was destined to become the future world champion. Without further ado, let's get to it.
No, I try to take the person out the whole fight whenever I can. Because the distance, I always prep to get to be ready for that too, and we'll see what happens.
I think skill set wise, I am leaps above him, you know, and I will show that come Saturday night. I know he says his kid will be killed, and I'm here to kill, so I cannot wait.
Yeah, he knows how to win, and he knows how to win and get it done. So it's gonna be a serious, not serious fight, and you gotta kill him.
Yes, you know, that's every fight. If it doesn't bleed, then it's not a fight, you know. So he's definitely bleeding in this fight, you know, slicing him, dicing him.
Yes, there was a lot of blood, and without a doubt, Leon Edwards looked much better than the veteran from Stockton. But it's not that simple. Nate Diaz, he fights like Nate Diaz, even against the top prospect. We're interested in a specific moment in the final round when his signature 1-2 combination evoked a storm of emotions from the watching audience. Furthermore, looking at the situation in the division through the lens of time, we can confidently say that Diaz came closer to finishing Edwards early than anyone since his encounter with Kamaru Usman in 2015. and considering the fact that Leon soon defeated the Nigerian and claimed the title, Nate is simply a legend. That's all we want to say.
In a real fight, in the real world, that fight's a wrap. So, yeah, he was sleepwalking.
Number 5. Anthony Pettis vs Benson Henderson, WEC 53. At the midpoint, let's take a look at a bout that took place in December 2010. If you remember those times, you agree that it was an intriguing era. Most of the fighters who later competed in the strongest league were still in the WEC organization, which the main promotion gradually absorbed. In the agenda was a lightweight title clash between champion Benson Henderson and the man who would soon grace cereal boxes, Anthony Pettis. Both prospects were sporting records of 12-1 and were among the best representatives of the lightweight division, which added considerable excitement to the anticipation of their showdown.
There's only one man standing in front of me and all my dreams, and that's Ben Henderson. Tonight I'm gonna go in there, take the WC title, and I'm gonna head over to the UFC and unify these belts. I'm gonna go out last WC lightweight champion ever, and then go in as a #1 contender for the UFC belt. I'm gonna go get that also. I finished every guy I faced in the WC. I'm finished Anthony tonight also. I'm walking out there with my belt around my waist. I'm gonna win this fight tonight with my striking. I'm gonna stuff his takedowns, stick to my game plan, become the WC champion.
Let's start with a spoiler alert. Anthony secured a unanimous decision victory. But what interests us is the moment that occurred in the final segment. With just a minute left in the fight, Showtime decided to execute the masterpiece of his life. In the sequence leading up to the miraculous strike, Anthony pressured Benson, forcing him to back up against the cage. Jumped off the cage, pushed off it with his right leg and delivered a kick right to Henderson's head in mid-air. Later, this kick was called the Showtime kick. This episode can still be found in highlight reels to this day, and for good reason.
It's just one of them kicks we practice in the training room. I don't think anybody expected me to throw it in a fight, but I knew I had to come out the box with something and do something different because he kept stopping my low kick. So I tried it and it landed, and it's just one of them things I hope is in highlight videos forever.
Number 4. Anderson Silva vs Vita Belford, UFC 126. And once again, we return to the legendary Spider. Now, let's examine a bout featuring Anderson Silva, which occurred at the peak of his career and during the prime of his championship reign. By February 2011, the Brazilian had racked up 7 successful title defenses and made a few excursions into the light heavyweight division. On the 126th numbered event, he squared off against the former champion of the light heavyweight division, but on his own turf. Vita Belford, a compatriot of Anderson's, was an equally legendary performer. At the time, he was on a 5-fight winning streak, which ultimately earned him a title shot in the middleweight division.
Na verdade, as pessoas buscam uma coisa que é muito vaga, que é o cinturão. Uma coisa assim tão pequena, perto do que você realmente pode representar como pessoa. Então, eu não estou preocupado com isso. Eu estou preocupado, na minha opinião pessoal, é que luta é luta, ele é mais um adversário, perigoso como todos os outros, e eu vou lá para lutar, assim como ele.
You probably already guessed what's coming next. That's right, the famous front kick to the jaw by Anderson Silva that led to a first-round knockout. It was the first such incident in the history of the strongest league. The peak Brazilian was conjuring magic in the octagon, something you don't often see even today.
The last time I had my training camp here in the States, we practiced that particular kick with Steven Seagal a lot, and I must have done that kick over 1,000 times. And when I went back to Brazil, I just kept training that kick, and obviously it worked out pretty well.
Second to none. Oh! He front kicked him in the face! Absolutely wrestling to finish. It is all over! Kick to the face! Anderson Silva remains the...
Number 3. Francis Ngannou vs Alistair Overeem, UFC 218. Towards the end, we're getting to the most exciting part. Up next is, without exaggeration, the greatest predator in UFC heavyweight history, who could have become even more dominant during his time. Francis Ngannou's career by December 2017 was at its peak, as much as it could be for that period. the Cameroonian was riding a 9-fight winning streak, with 5 of those wins coming in the strongest league. He had already established himself as a fierce knockout artist, capable of shattering an opponent's jaw with a single blow. And now he faced a guy who had already had a title shot and was going for a second round, Alistair Overeem.
Any last word for Alistair? I nothing. I just gonna ask you one question. How tough is his chin is strong now? So that is the question for Alistair Overeem. So if he has any answer, you can give me that. Yes. We're gonna check it out.
There's two things. Very strong guy, punches hard. Secondly, I mean, it's UFC. Everybody has a plan. Everybody's good everywhere, right?
Right.
But so am I. Mike Tyson.
Wow. Well done. It's great to see you.
He's not Mike Tyson.
He is not. You don't buy that hype.
Nah. Oh, no. He's definitely not Mike Tyson. He's doing him, and it's looking good, right? The Predator.
Yeah.
It's looking good. I give him definitely props. 9-fight winning streak. I think 5 or 6 in the UFC.
Yeah.
Great physique, strong, harder hitter, right, in the performance center.
Yes, I said that when I had my UFC contract. I said I want to fight him one day.
He was sleep tonight. He was sleep.
The co-main event of UFC 218 ended in just 1 minute and 42 seconds. But the most remarkable thing about this whole affair is the way this battle was stopped. Francis's devastating uppercut from hell instantly turned the lights out on Overeem in the midst of an exchange. This victory catapulted the Cameroonian to his first title shot and made him a superstar of the main promotion.
I was engaged, so there was not. I don't even know what happened. I just threw punch and then that's happened. And I was already engaged, but I didn't have time to see that he's like out.
To try to get a matchup with Ngannou.
Number 2. Leon Edwards vs Kamaru Usman, UFC 278. And we're back to Leon Edwards. After Rocky defeated the gangster from Stockton, more than a year had passed. By that time, the Nigerian had settled all his unfinished business with Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington, beating both of them twice, and had already accumulated about 5 successful title defenses. When there were no more contenders in the welterweight division, a British fighter on a winning streak claimed,
"One thing that got me here, and that's, my work ethic. Success only drives me to work even harder. So if they're thinking that I'm slipping, it's gonna be a bad night for them."
It's not personal for me. All it is I believe I am number one, and I'm going out to prove it. The fame is definitely getting to your head, and I'm humbly asked on Saturday night.
Kamaru Usman looked unbeatable in the eyes of the public. His recent title defenses often ended early, giving the impression that finding a way to beat him was impossible. But as history showed, Leon Edwards became the only one to do so, and he did it in the final round. That high kick by Rocky created a whole wave of headshot dead hashtags.
Can't put into words, Joe. It's been a long fought for 4 years. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now. Never there. Pound for pound. Headshot dead. That's it.
But that is not the cloth from which he is cut. I mean, that is a dejected.
Number 1. Michael Chandler vs Tony Ferguson, UFC 274. And the final showdown for today took place in May 2022. Michael Chandler, a recent lightweight title contender, had recently arrived from the Second Fighters League and stopped Dan Hooker with a first-round knockout not too long ago. He then suffered 2 losses, first to Charles Oliveira and then to Justin Gaethje. After that, the UFC matchmakers paired him up with the legendary El Cucuy, whose fortunes had not been on the rise for almost 2 years since his loss to the Highlight. such an intriguing matchup took place at
this weekend very fucking seriously. So I'll kick this Dana White boy's ass.
As painful as it is to recall this moment in the first round, Ferguson looked excellent. He landed clean shots, dropped the iron, and even applied his signature elbows on the ground, reminiscent of the bloody peak era. But with the arrival of the next round, all this success came to an end. Chandler thwarted Tony's strategy with a quick and precise front kick, which knocked El Cucuy out for the first time in his professional career. It was the best finish of 2022, deserving of the appropriate accolades, and it will be remembered in MMA highlight reels for a long time to come.
Listen, I'm ready to come back. The main event. There is not one MMA fan on the planet that doesn't want to see me rematch you, Charles, or rematch you, Justin Gaethje, a rematch of Fight of the Year 2021, 5 rounds for the UFC lightweight title. And Joe, if Hunter Campbell and Dana White have a momentary lapse of judgment and they give this title shot to someone else, I got one dude on my mind. Conor McGregor, you gotta come back and fight somebody. I am the most entertaining lightweight on the planet. Holler at your boy. God bless. I'll see you at the top.
But honestly, that was honestly
Bonus place: Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, UFC 229. Well, since Michael Chandler is challenging Conor McGregor, are we allowed to refuse him? This extra spot represents the most high-profile conflict in the history of the strongest league and mixed martial arts as a whole. We won't delve into all the details of this feud between the Irishman and the Dagestani, but let's get right to the point.
This is my third fight in last 9 months, you know, and 26-0, never lose round. And I don't know what this guy talking about. I don't understand what he gonna do 6 October. He think whiskey gonna help him? I don't understand.
Signed up for. I've been late in this. The traffic is a little heavy. There must be a McGregor fight going on. I don't know where the little fool is. He's better off running anyway. You know yourself, I bet you he was saying a load of up here. He didn't say anything the last time, so, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. These things happen.
This is just a small part of what preceded this tournament, but we're not here to dissect what happened outside the octagon. We're interested in the actual fight. Specifically, the overhand right delivered by the Eagle, which found its mark early in the second round. This moment turned the tide of the entire bout, because after that, the notorious Irishman began rapidly losing his strength and offering less resistance. Khabib dropping Conor with a knockdown. It even sounds like a joke. Well, it might have sounded that way before UFC 229, but now it's an undeniable truth. And considering that it was Conor's first career knockdown and it came from a wrestler, it leaves no room for doubt.
Oh! Massive right from Nurmagomedov! And a knee from McGregor
Nasty
now!
right hand. Wow! And that's the problem with takedowns, is they gain the respect of the striker.
Share your opinion in the comments below this video. Which of the mentioned cases stood out to you the most? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos. And of course, give it a like if you enjoyed this video. See you soon.